This video is sponsored by Battle City Gym. Check them out for all your singles and sealed product needs. Hey guys, this is Mike.
And Scott.
From Deepwood Force of Will. Scott's coming at you today with the deck that he brought to our...
locals.
Our 7-man locals.
Not a 4-man anymore.
I know.
7-man.
It was a farewell to our local game shop that unfortunately is closing down at the end of the summer.
Yeah. It sucks. But it was fun.
It was. We wanted to make sure we give it a good send-off with some fun memes. So here's Scott with the meme deck that he brought. Scott, would you mind if I give the name of this deck again?
Fishing for Dratini.
All right. We've got a water dragon.
So it is a Judgment for 5. Energize for blue, and resonance. So you mainly use them for his resonance effect. So whenever a water magic stone came into play, you scry the top of your deck. You look at it, see if you want it on the top or bottom of your deck. And you'll see later in the deck why that's kind of important. I did Judgment him, I know definitely once. I might have done it twice, I can't remember exactly. But he flips into an 11/11 flyer with... He's pretty much rising from the depths, but your opponent's resonators go back to their hand. So very simple. It worked out. I did win. I believe I judgmented him twice, and it did win me one of those matchups. So he was actually pretty good. But like I said, the main use for the deck with him was his resonance effect, to look at the top of your deck and see whether you want it on the top or not. So that was that. Stone lineup. I ran kind of a weird set of stones, but so 4 Dark Depths for your black-blue stones, 2 of the Hearth's Core for red. You'll see why I have red in the deck later. It's only 1 card. It probably shouldn't have been in the deck anyways. But like we said, it's memes, so I threw it in there. 2 white-blue stones, and then 2 black-white stones.
The only ones that don't let you energize, that don't let you...
Right,
resonance.
The only 2 that don't let me resonance, just because I wanted more white stones, but also the black as well. So, like, it sucked. Like, my first matchup, game 1, I top decked both of these off the top of my deck, and he just memed all over me. He literally memed all over me. That was pretty fun. But then I memed him right back and won that matchup. So starting off with the Resonators, for the 1-drop, the only 1-drop that we have is we have 3 Flutes Water Dragon. Didn't really use him to make those stones, because, I mean, it's a 5 cost. There's no reason for me not to be calling for stone with my ruler. Kind of just use it as a 1-drop, because I am running Umur, so I did want a 1-drop to come off of it instead of just 2, as well as once you get to 5 stones, he gains +4/+4. So it's a 5/8, which is pretty good for a 1-drop. So that's why I ran him. Then, like, the main card of the deck, Spawn of Umur. Great card, especially with a ruler that has Energize. I prefer going second, and then turn 1 calling into, doesn't really matter what stone, because you Energize, get out Spawn of Umur. And now they have to worry about, do I have a Cthulu in hand or not? So... pretty good. Only 300 attack, 600 defense. 600 defense was really good. It's a great card overall. I didn't really see it as often as I would have liked, but when I did do well. I had 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 tie. So I went 1-1-1, which wasn't bad for a 3-round tournament. So, and then one of the main cards for the Fishing for Dratini deck, you have the Fisherman. He is a 3-cost 7/7 that does the same thing as Fishing does. When he comes into play, send the top card of your deck to the grave, and you get a Water Darkness Fantasy Resonator with XX based off of the cost of said card, which is fine because, like, most of the spells that I had were Remnant, as well as really big Resonators, so that way I got big tokens in return. So I used him once. He was pretty good. Is high cost, but then you also get him off of Umer. So you get that 3 cost, 2 cost, and 1 cost, which was pretty good. I believe I did that once. It was pretty fun. Then a card that I never saw or kind of never really wanted unless it was off of Fishing or the Fisherman, Hook. Yeah, surprising. I never really... It's either I didn't see it or I didn't want it because it wasn't really like a main combo piece, but it was there just in case I wanted to and I had the time to return stuff to my opponent's hand. So he was there. He was really good because he's just a 5-drop, so it's just a 1 blue spell getting you a 5/5 Resonator, which isn't bad stat-wise. Plus, you're sending another Resonator to grave for the next card in the deck, which is 3 Valentina, Crumbling Illusion. So yeah, deck's based around like get stuff to the grave, kind of reanimate, and spawn of a Myr into all the Cthulus. So even though I didn't really see Hook or want Hook, it was fine sending him to the grave because now they would have to fear like a 3 cost, 4 cost Valentina that at the beginning of my turn I get something back. So it just puts that other fear factor into my opponents to try and like deal with it. Used it once or twice on the field and it was just dealt with, so I never really got its effect off, but it's, like I said, it's the fear factor. You don't want that going off. Or they don't want it going off. So, then you have 2 Armor, which Armor is pretty basic. It's a 7 cost, but you get them off with Spawn of Armor, and you get his effect. You get a 3 cost, 2 cost, 1 cost, so you get a Fisherman, and then either another Spawn of Umar, or a, the last card that I have is Library of Alexandria. Didn't really use that. And then you get a Little Flute's Water Dragon. So, this was, I used him, like I said, a couple of times. Was pretty good when I did. The main card that I spawned of Emerged, as a Toth. Oh my god, did he put in a lot of work. He's, oh my god. Either with Fishing or with, like the spawn of a Myr into him. It's, either way, it's still really good, because you have, he's a 8 cost that Fisherman or Fishing, you get an 8/8 token, and then he's a 20/20 that anytime, he has 6 limit counters. Anytime he attacks or blocks, you remove a limit counter, and then when you attack or block with him, you get to destroy target J Resonator, and that's every time you attack or block with him. And then his last effect is, if he would be killed, or at the end, yeah, whenever it attacks or blocks, if it would be destroyed, you remove a limit counter from it instead. If you do, remove all damage from it. And then if you don't have any limit counters on it, he destroys himself and you take 2,000 damage. But he has 6 limit counters, so it's kind of hard for them to do that because you're attacking for 2,000 every turn. So he was the main combo piece that gave me the game wins. He was really good because like turn 1, well, you go second, so you get the Energize. Turn 1, you get, hopefully you get a blue stone. Well, actually, no, it doesn't really matter because you have the blue here. Turn 1, Energize, play out Spawn of a Myr. Next turn they go. You have cards that either destroyed Resonators that they control that are blocking or stuff like that. Get that Spawn of a Myr to attack, banish it, and summon as a Toth on turn 2. And now they're just like, well, crap, now I have to deal with that thing. And it's really hard to deal with unless you return it to the hand. So during this meme format, it was a really good card. Wish I built the deck more around that than how I did it right now, but it was still good. It was still really fun. And then another card for Fishing, last Resonator, Ice Dragon of Altea. 12/12 flyer, that it costs 1 colorless less per card in your hand. So it was really good. It gave you that 1-drop fishing for a 9/9. So it was pretty good. Didn't get them off, sadly, because I didn't have that many cards in my hand to begin with. But it was there. It helped. Onto Regalia, the only Regalia that I ran because it's a blue deck. Artemis the God's Bow. Basic use, tap it, remove a counter on it, deal 400 to target J-Res. So on turn, normally turn 1 or 2, they don't really have things above 400 defense that can deal with a bow shot while trying to block a Spawn of Amur. So it really helped. So that was really good. That was one of the main cards that I used to get Spawn of Amur into their face, to deal that 300, to get that effect, to get the bigger Resonator. Again, to go along with that, I have 3 Charlotte's Water Transformation Magic. It's a good card, negates effects for the turn, like Abdul's, if I ever saw an Abdul, which I don't think I did. It is Remnant, so if you do hit it off of fishing, it's got Remnant, you're fine. You still have another effect of it, plus you've got 3 of them. So just overall, really good card. The main card of the deck, Fishing, 4 Fishings. Same thing as the Fisherman. 1 will, though, take the top card of your deck, send it to the grave, get a Water Fantasy Resonator with the cost of that card's for its attack and defense. So I did get that off a couple times. Was really good sometimes, really bad other times. Still worked out in the end. I played 2 Flutes Awakening. This was kind of like a weird... the deck is 45 cards. I thought, like, with Azathoth as like a main focus, you attack with Azathoth, destroy something. 1 will recover him, draw a card, so that way you can block next turn and kill another thing. So it was kind of just like a little fun thing, a meme. Literally just now they have to really think about how to deal with Azathoth, which most of the time didn't really happen. So that was pretty good. 2 Dawn of the Earth, that's why I play the White Stone. Kind of the same concept. They go and they Umur me. I have this to get rid of those Resonators for good. I do have the recover the attack with Azathoth. You recover him, give him an extra 200, attack again. And now that's 4,000 damage, 4,200 damage that they had to deal with in 1 turn. So that was kind of tough to deal with for my opponents. 2 cards, really good thought process behind them. And then because I have such big Resonators in my hand, that like if I have no way to summon them or get enough out or stuff like that, I do have Soul Hunt that hits both of us. It hits, so we both discard, banish a Resonator and discard a card from our hand. So it gets rid of the dead Resonators that are in your hand. It deals with their hand slightly as well as their board state slightly, if you have an issue with their board state. So it was just like pretty good getting cards from your hand to the grave for that Valentina, get it a little bit easier to summon. So this actually did help out a couple of times. Then we have another card to deal with other cards that your opponent controls, Spacetime Anomaly. Great card, fantastic card, loved it. Pretty standard, everybody knows it. 2 will give -5/-5 to your opponent's J Resonator. Has Remnant, so it's okay if you hit it off of fishing, and then draws you a card every time you use its effect. Great, fantastic card, loved it. Sort of part of the Reanimator list, you have 2 Dance of Shadows. So at that like very last moment on your opponent's end phase, Dance the Shadows, bring out a Myrrh, bring out a Valentina from your grave, get more things back, so that way when that card is gone forever, removed from the game, you still have a board left over. So I saw it like once, used it, it worked, it helped out. And then the last card, a card that I didn't really see or need in the deck. I just threw it in there just in case, because Library of Alexandria, you can really call whatever you want. You call Cthulhu's to give like Azathoth swiftness, which actually really didn't matter. You can call the fantasy tokens. You can call fantasy, give them swiftness, so that way anytime you play them afterwards, they can attack right away instead of having to wait. So yeah, that was pretty much the deck. MVPs were Spawn of Amur and Azathoth with, I would probably say the bow, Spacetime Anomaly, and Water Transformation Magic. Great cards, loved them. Wish I made the deck slightly smaller and more around the Spawn of Amur Azathoth. So, like I said, great deck. Would change it up a little bit to go more for those cards, make it a little bit more consistent. But yeah, it was really fun to play. Sorry about the coughing.